everyone, it's me Morris, and in this video I'll be giving you an update on the US weather, surface analysis, teaser at what's coming in winter and some signs we're looking at, and a quick update on the tropics and some special messages at the end of the video. So if you do enjoy, please consider subscribing, liking, and let's get right into it. So right now we're starting out with surface analysis. Quite a change from my previous videos. Usually we start out with the National Weather Service alerts and indices. But today, I want to start out a little different, and I like doing surface analysis once in a while because weather is kind of interesting right now. Let's start in the west. In the west, we have a general high pressure located over the Rocky Mountains. There are some embedded lows that has been causing some kind of mountain snows and some rains in the lower elevations. So you got some fronts over here, high pressure, lots of mini high pressures around the main high pressure. And you got some high pressure up in the north central U.S., northern plains, etc. Overall, pretty temperate in the west, I'd say, with occasional shower activity, etc. Central U.S. also pretty typical. It has been much warmer, if I'm being honest, in central U.S. than the west. I mean, the west has been cooler. Central U.S. has been really warm. Like, you can see 80s going up well through Minnesota, even portions of southern Canada. So it's been roasting on the start of October. Now, in the east, what we actually have is also a high pressure, but it's a cold high. It's a polar high right now. And what it's doing right now is kind of setting up a classic situation of cold air damming, okay? So you got cold air right through here, and it's basically where cold air dams along the Appalachian Mountains. And so it's much cooler in some of these areas. Matter of fact, let's zoom in a little bit through some of these areas. So these are only temperatures as late as 8:05 Eastern time is the time over here in the East US. So you can see like 80s over through Indiana, and then you go a little west into the same kind of latitude, but you go west and you see 60s and 70s in the area. So that's all cold air damming, okay? Cold air getting dammed along, okay? And that's going to be teaser of what we get in winter. We're going to have probably quite a bit of events where we have cold air damming like that. We always do. And so we got 60s currently, 70s, and yesterday we actually had, or the day before yesterday, we had frost and freeze advisories as well. And I'd say 1 or 2 more nights of cooler air before we really moderate, but 40s possible for Boston, New York City, Philadelphia, Baltimore, maybe even DC. So it's going to be very, especially the suburbs of these cities. So it's going to be very chilly, and it'll definitely feel like fall with a hint of winter on the way. So let's get into some forecasting. Let's see what the GFS shows. We're going GFS with these models, kind of have a little fun with it. So here you have your big high. It's really big, honestly. It is a very strong high, but it's what caused Imelda and Umberto to head out to sea. So it's going to linger for a bit, but will eventually get breaking down and kind of move it out, getting into next week. Got some precipitation that could come with this one cold front that we're expecting early next week. It's going to be active in the west and in the south right here as we have some tropical activity. I'll show you guys that in a bit. But just some fronts, some general precipitation, maybe some homegrown activity based on some fronts. And overall, it's going to be very kind of a zonal flow, honestly. Like, if you look at the Climate Prediction Center, it is heat throughout the whole U.S., okay? So this is an 18Z run. Would expect to see something funky, not much. But again, you see lots of precipitation in the west, and then diving fronts that merge with some sort of Gulf for Atlantic moisture that causes some sort of precipitation event in the east. So I'd say that theme continues through at least the middle of October, through at least next week. Temperatures wise, here you have your big heat dome in the central U.S. Here you have your cold air damming sea breeze off the east. That quickly diminishes by, October 4th. So Friday, one more day, and I'd say it really starts to moderate for the northeast, and then southeast could hang on through the weekend. Here's your heat blast, some relief, some weak cooler blasts. I mean, there is one on the GFS for next week. But overall, it's a heat-dominating pattern with small cold blasts. So we'll have to watch. There you see a negative PNA trying to take place. Overall, you got a negative PNA. Some areas gets warmer, but overall negative PNA, which is going to lead this. It's a really weak one, though, I can tell. So it's going to lead this negative PN A is going to lead to this warm blob in the central U.S. that extends east with variable cold fronts coming down, is what the theme will be through at least next week and in the future. So I'll watch out for that. There has been some model trends that I could probably show you in my next video that shows cooler trends towards the middle of October. Tomorrow I might do more of an October forecast, so I'll let you know, but we'll take a little bit deeper of a long-term dive. So, what's the tropics? Start with the Eastern Pacific. Haven't gave much love to that. We got one tropical storm Octave, however you want to say it. 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm. Gonna stay a tropical storm heading around west-northwest. Eventually, it will take a sharp turn east. Now, depending on how far east it goes, we're still gonna watch. Okay, it could just dart. It's gonna speed up though, for sure. So we're gonna have to see how far east it gets and like what could happen. So this storm could be with us for a while. So it's gonna dart back this way. If it does continue going east, maybe Mexico you have to watch out. Maybe Baja California, but it's right now the cone only goes to like. If I'm gonna draw it on this map, it only goes to like here. So we'll have to see then if it gets guided back out. If it kind of stays suppressed, heads this way. Maybe does a circle. I don't know. Interesting little storm. And it will stay a tropical storm for the next few days through the weekend into early next week. This next disturbance we're watching, 70% in the next 48 hours, 90% in the next 7 days. This storm should just parallel the coast, is what I read from the National Hurricane Center. So generally in this direction, at least through the next few days. And if it does get strong enough, and if it does take like this edge cone closer to Mexico, could bring some direct impacts and some outer bands either way, so we'll watch this storm as well. But it will probably develop into something. We'll keep an eye on that. Atlantic, also pretty kind of active. You have this one disturbance, 10% 40 hours, 10% 7 days. This is the one I was talking about that's kind of bringing a surge of tropical moisture through Florida and portions of the deep southeast. This will move slowly but generally west-northwest, but should dissipate as it does get over land and probably move inland and get swept up by a front later through the weekend and into next week. This disturbance we're watching more, 30% 7 days, 0 in the next 48 hours. Was 20% in the last video I made. Currently right around here, so long ways to go. But generally does seem to be heading in some sort of this direction. Some models do show an early recurve. Couple try to sneak it for the west. And maybe we have a low rider that gets into the Caribbean, which we haven't really had any so far this year. Let's talk about winter now. Sorry about that little banner. Winter. Let's talk about ENSO. Okay, not winter yet. So right now we have negative 0.959 is our latest value. That is just around, I'd say, a moderate, weak to moderate La Nina, almost a moderate La Nina. So we are definitely in La Nina territory, and you can see that by the trend on this graph heading down. Now we have seen somewhat of a recent bottom line. I do expect it to resume going down through at least October. By November, or especially into December, that's when I'd say November maybe it starts to beeline, and in December it's gonna start warming up again. It's gonna start going like that. It will start creeping back up. I do think it'll get by in between -0.5, -1 by like late December, and then through January, especially February, I think it'll be between 0.0, -0.5. So that's going to have implications on our winter, okay? Depending on how much it warms and how much it gets cooler in the next few months, because it will get cooler. Depends how long those trade winds last and how long it continues to cool before it heads back up. We're already seeing some kind of beeline, but I do expect it to keep cooling, and that will have implications on our winter. Speaking of winter, and I did say I was gonna have a special message. I am planning to post a winter outlook. You guys know I do this every year. I do it for 3 months, usually October, November, and December. Also did September last year at the end, but I think September sometime is early, and I would get a better look. But it is October, and I do think it could be time to start looking at some signs. So I will try to squeeze out some sort of forecast by this weekend as a special video, or by next weekend. I'll let you guys know how my schedule looks. But either way, I'd say winter forecast coming in the first half of October, November as well, and then a final one at the end or just before the beginning of December. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll